Dionisio at the plate. He's 0 for 2 today. Swakowski, the big right-hander, lets it go. It's right down Broadway. Dionisio lets it fly, and it's raining now.
It's time for Rain Delay Theater with Jeremy Dionisio and Jack Swakowski.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rain Delay Theater, the podcast where two bums talk about other bums at baseball games. I'm Jack Swakowski.
And I'm Jeremy Dionisio.
And it's episode number 299. Yes, we're one shy of 300. It's Christmas week, so in celebration of that, Jeremy and I are going to talk about a couple of classic Christmas movies and recast the characters as baseball personalities, whether they're players or, announcers or ex-players or, not to spoil any choices. But that's what we're going to do. So that's always fun. Jeremy and I are always teetering on the edge of turning this into a movie podcast. So tonight we're going to get a little bit of both.
Yeah, and I think a couple of years ago we did something similar with just regular movies. But to be in the Christmas spirit, we figured we'd go through the Christmas movies and find baseball people. So it should be some interesting insight and a crossover there between the two worlds. Before we get into that, Jack, some news. Do you have something to share, or do you want to?
Well, it's just a dumb anecdote, Jeremy. So we might as well start with news first.
Okay, cool. News for the White Sox here in Chicago. Munetaka Murakami. Is that the right name?
Yeah, is it Munetaka Murakami? Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's saying like, call me Mooney.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
So he signed with the Chicago White Sox of all teams. Definitely a shocker.
Yeah.
It almost seemed there was I forgot when his deadline was. So he was posted from NPB, and they have like a 45-day window, some kind of window. It might even be shorter than that, to sign a contract with an MLB team. And the deadline was fast approaching. It almost seems like they took it because they're like, we can't find another deal in this amount of time. We just have to take whatever. I don't know. I haven't read too much about it, but I read a little bit about it, but it was definitely surprising. I don't know. I was shocked.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds like an exciting player. It sounds like he can't really do anything besides hit home runs and walk. But I think they said he had 56 home runs in 2022 and something like 20 or 26 in 56 games last year. So it sounds like the guy can mash.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can make contact very much, but when he does, it seems like the ball goes a long way.
Yeah, and I think that's in reality, I think that's one of the reasons why he maybe took the short deal with the White Sox. Is to kind of to prove it contract for the MLB, and then he'll probably go to the Yankees or something. But it was exciting. So if you recall, in the 2023 World Baseball Classic, he had a big home run, I believe. And I think he actually hit the walk-off hit to win the series for Japan. So he's been on my radar for several years. I went up and I bought up a bunch of his cards after 2023, and I have some good ones. The irony of all this is that there's a market there, but the White Sox is probably one of the worst teams he could have gone to because it's like if it was the Yankees, I probably would have made a premium on selling some of his stuff, but the White Sox, there's not really much of a premium. So but yeah, I'm trying to round up all my Murakami cards right now, just in the event that maybe he's in play to get signed at some point.
Yeah, so we both did buy our tickets to Sox Fest. It's going to be happening on Saturday, January 31st. It's going to be a fun time. I'm wondering if he'll be there. I'm kind of guessing not.
Yeah.
But it'd be fun. It'd be fun if he was.
Yeah, most definitely. It would be cool. Odds are probably not. The only thing I was thinking is if maybe because it was, it's a relatively big signing for the White Sox, and he's just coming here. Maybe he would, but I saw some videos of him putting on a White Sox jersey. I don't know if that was in Chicago or in Japan, but because Shota showed up to the Cubs convention the first year he was here. So
he did, yeah, and a freaking the Mope got his autograph. the Peoria Mope.
We got to find some place to put him in a Christmas movie too. But the Peoria Fucking Peoria Mope got him. Well, Jack, we saw the Peoria Mope last year as well, right?
We sure did. We actually saw him in line when we were getting Derek Lee. Yeah.
Oh God, I can't wait to see him again and just any of the other weirdos at the Cubs convention this year, which we also got our tickets for. So we'll be booked up in January for conventions. So that'll be fun, and then spring training will be right around the corner. But yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, it's possible that he could show up to White Sox Fest just as a first time sort of thing. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But yeah, it was cool. I was, wanted him to come to Chicago. I did not think it would be to the South Side, but it is what it is. So we'll see how that all works out for him.
Yeah, and Jeremy, regarding CubsCon, it's always cool to buy that ticket and then see it pop up in your ballpark app. It's like the first thing you see. It's the first thing you see in your ballpark app after months of nothing.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I had to log back in and remember my password just to access it. But yeah, it's cool to have that, and I'm looking forward to it. I guess we can say they announced. I think since the last recording, they announced the 2016 reunion will happen officially. I think we all knew that, but they released some names already. And there's some big names, and man, it's just it's kind of sad to think about it, but it's here's another thing that Chris Bryant is missing out on. By being under contract with the Rockies. I think I thought about it, and the cool thing for him is that he will, when he does retire and he comes back, he will get his own special welcome party. So he won't have to share it with the other 16 guys, but yeah, there's some cool names on that list, and a couple guys that I still need. So I'm hoping some of them do signings.
Yeah, that'll be it'll be nuts, Jeremy. And like you said when you encouraged me to buy my ticket, earlier last week, we don't suspect that it's going to sell out. But if there was ever a CubsCon that was absolutely bonkers with people, it's just lousy with fans, it would be this one. Yeah, for sure. It's going to be high demand. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't mean the lines are too crazy, but. Probably will, but so I don't know if I'll be able to get 65 autographs this time around, but we'll see. But obviously looking forward to it. So I'm just hoping for the good weather. Yeah, that'll be fun. I guess one other thing before we jump into the Christmas movies. This is real quick, but I was doing some Christmas shopping, and I was actually at that store, the Rally House, which is right across the street from Wrigley Field. I had never been in there before, but it seemed like they had some cool stuff in there for Christmas presents. So I went in, and I was, looking to buy a T-shirt for somebody, and I saw this kind of cool T-shirt that I wanted, but I didn't have the size I was looking for. And the size I was looking for was just an XL. It wasn't like a 4X or something. So I was kind of pissed that they didn't have this, because it's well, come on, you don't have this thing in an extra large. So whatever, I'm kind of just looking through different shirts to see if I can find this random shirt stuffed in a different row of shirts, whatever, just trying my luck. And an employee comes up to me and he says, "Oh, hey, can I help you?" And I knew they weren't going to have the shirt in the size that I was looking for, but I asked him anyway. I was like, "Yeah, I think this shirt is pretty cool. You guys have that in an extra large?" And he's like, "Oh, well, let me check." And then, he had one of those little devices on him, so he scanned the tag, which it's kind of like at a shoe store where, he was able to look at their inventory and see, what size they had. And so he looked for me, and he's like, "No, I don't have that shirt." And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, thanks, man. And I just picked out something else. But I was thinking, you know what, man, this guy must have gone to the Ronnie School of Customer Service. He probably knew that they didn't have the shirt. Yeah. But instead of just saying, "Oh, no," he said, "Yeah, let me look," which is what Ronnie said annoyed him when we were at the convention last month. It's when someone asks you for something, just for customer service, even if they don't have it, at least just say, "Oh yeah, well just let me look and see." So I was impressed with that, the Ronnie School of Customer Service. It feels like all Chicago sports, proprieties, all Chicago sports stores in the area are on high alert after that video. Now they're all putting that extra effort in. Yeah. For the record, Jeremy, I was trying to get a White Sox shirt. They do have a small amount of White Sox items there, and it'd be funny if the guy if he said no, but then he said to me, Hey, hey, you come to Chicago, you're gonna get a White Sox shirt, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I got all the shirts back here. You didn't even tell him. You know, next time he comes in, I'm gonna lay them out on the table and say, "Here you go. Here are all the shirts." I almost shit a brick.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. So anyway, that just made me think of that, and I liked it. Okay. Yeah, Jeremy. So what do you say we jump into the films here? So I think we each chose about 7 or 8 movies, and picked a character and a baseball personality from each. So do you want to start off with your first movie?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. I think and so Jack, we didn't really talk about like the kind of like spirit in which we were picking these. I don't know if you picked guys based on looks or just by personality. Maybe a little bit of both. I kind of did a little both, I would say, but
yeah, I would say I chose them more based on their personality and their fit for the character than their looks, I think.
Okay, that's fair. All right, where do I start with here? I have some ones that I'm more of a fan of, and then ones that I just kind of wanted to represent the movie. So, I'll start with this one. What the hell? So, it's a controversial one to start with, but Die Hard, which is a controversial Christmas movie. I don't, I feel like that conversation has been talked to death. I would just say I would say it's a Christmas movie for people who don't like traditional Christmas movies. I think that's probably a fair way to put it. But yeah. So I don't know why this is the first one that jumped to my head, but I have for John McClane. This is more of like a lookalike, but I could also see like he kind of exudes the character of it maybe. But I have Nick Castellanos for John McClane.
Yeah, okay. I like that. He's definitely has that devil may care, like kind of wise ass attitude. So I could see, definitely from that respect, I could for sure see that.
Yeah. So and yeah, I'm like thinking like I'm picturing like Bruce Willis in like that like heating vent or whatever with like kind of like the like 5 o'clock shadow like on his face, and like Nick Castellanos seems to like perpetually have that beard or that short beard. So yeah, I was thinking Nick Castellanos for some reason for that. I also would say, Jack, you might know the name, of the this character, but one of the German guys, not Hans Gruber, but the long haired like blonde guy.
I know which guy you're talking about. I don't. My buddy Chris would know the answer to that. I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, well, I can't remember either. But for him, I was thinking about him, and I thought Noah Syndergaard.
Oh God, that's perfect, man. Him or the other guy he walked out to the bus with. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. There's a couple guys who look similar. There's that one blonde guy with the shorter hair with the glasses, and then there's like the guy with the long hair, and I think he might be the guy who's like, ho ho ho, I have a machine gun. That might be that guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. Noah Syndergaard accomplished some things in his career, not a lot, but I just will always think of him, that look on his face in the what's his name, the Tom Hallion video, just like that dumb look on his face, like what? I just tried to throw a fastball. So
yeah, that will forever be his legacy. I think his lasting legacy is being the pitcher in that video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeremy, one thing I like about the Castellanos as McClane thing is you can almost hear some things that Nick Castellanos said, like being said in Bruce Willis's voice as John McClane. Like when that reporter asked him, like, oh, did you hear the booze out there? It's like, no, man, I went deaf. That's like,
yeah,
it just sounds like something John McClane would say.
I think there's some overlap there for sure.
Yeah. Were there any other characters you had? Because I had Die Hard 2 as one of my movies, so I can do a few of them.
Go for it.
Great.
That's all I had.
So one of them was I don't know the name of his character, which is fine, but the character, the cop that Reginald Bell Johnson plays.
Yeah.
So I think the whole thing about that character, one of the things is that he doesn't want to shoot a gun, like he's afraid to, because he did it one time and like he accidentally killed a kid. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, I believe that's what it is. He has like that.
Yeah,
like,
and
PTSD
then at the
from-
end, that blonde guy, not, for all of you people who haven't seen Die Hard, sorry for the spoiler, but that big blonde guy, I think, comes out, and then Reginald Bell Johnson ends up shooting him at the end, right?
yeah.
So that's like the big arc of his character. But anyway, yeah, so he was like, he was gun shy with his gun, and so I figured that John Lester would be a good guy to play Reginald Bell Johnson. I say that, folks, like if you remember 10 years ago, I guess maybe I just have the 2016 Cubs on the brain, like John Lester could not bring himself to throw to first base. You know, guy's a starting pitcher and he can't even like pick guys up. He can't even do a pickoff attempt. So
Yeah.
that's that character for sure.
I remember hearing about that in the I don't know what year it would have been, but when he had that brief stint with the Oakland A's, they were talking about that in the playoffs. Or it was like a 1-game playoff, but still. But that's definitely trigger shy, gun shy.
For sure.
Yeah.
I also had cast John McClane as well, but
Okay.
I think I was going for more of a physical thing
Okay.
here, and not like looks wise, but just one thing about John McClane is that like he gets beat up and he's always injured, and he walks on glass and whatever, and so I cast Byron Buxton as John McClane.
Oh, okay. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, just a guy who's like always either injured or coming back from an injury. I feel like the Twins have a couple guys like that. Like Royce Lewis could play the new John McClane in like whatever, Die Hard 6. But just the fact that John McClane in every movie is always dealing with some malady. I forget what it is in Die Hard 2. I think in Die Hard 3 he's like hungover or something, which is kind of a stretch. But whatever. So that was my John McClane. And then I also cast Ellis. So Ellis is the character. He's the obnoxious guy who's like, yeah, I negotiate $1 billion deals over breakfast, babe, who eventually ends up like getting whacked by, Alan Rickman. I chose Ellis, Kike Hernandez.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just if you could think about a really obnoxious guy who everybody is annoyed by and is just an immediate antagonist, I think Kike Hernandez would fit the bill there.
Do you remember the name of the limo driver? Is it Antoine?
It's Argyle.
Argyle. Okay, I knew it's over there.
Yeah.
I would say I would say Tristan McKenzie for him. He kind of they kind of like he kind of has like that same vibe. I would say.
Yeah.
But and then like we can't do Die Hard without a Hans Gruber. So like I think just by default it would have to be Max Kepler. Just because
that's the guy I thought of too, because why not? We've literally heard Max Kepler speak German.
Yeah, right. Sorry, I started to spoil it. Did you have him on your list?
No, I didn't actually.
Okay,
I was there was a couple movies here where like there's popular characters that I didn't cast because it felt I was like I just can't find the right guy for that. But Max Kepler definitely fits for Gruber.
Okay, yeah, nice. Okay, well then we got almost the whole cast there, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, you got another movie there, Jack? You want to?
Yeah, I do. So I chose to do Home Alone for one of my movies.
I have Home Alone also.
Yeah, I've kind of had it on the brain the last few days because I watched that John Candy documentary recently.
Yeah.
And did you see that one?
I did, yes.
Yeah, great. It was great, and I've always liked John Candy. But even as a kid, I was aware of who he was, and he died in 1994. But he's got Gus Polinski he's like the polka king of the Midwest, whatever. I didn't actually end up casting that character, but it is like a great character. And I didn't realize how many references to Wisconsin and the Midwest like he makes, and there's some pretty inside baseball references too. So I'm not sure if John Hughes like wrote that for him or if he improvised it. Mm-hmm. But whoever came up with that knew their Wisconsin culture, I guess I will say. So that's just a really fine performance by him. But
I almost want to say in the documentary they said that he did improvise a lot of that.
Yeah. That was kind of what I remembered. So credit to him for that, because I think he even talks about like Sheboygan and stuff. He's it was good stuff. So hell yeah, John Candy. I think out of respect, I didn't cast that character. Sure. But anyway. I guess the first people are Kevin, and his mom. Okay. So obviously, like, the kid who gets left behind and the parent who's oblivious that the kid is even there. So I chose for Kevin, I chose Alexander Canario, and for the mom, I chose David Ross.
Okay.
Because I could legitimately believe, Jeremy, that like David Ross would just forgot that Alexander Canario was on his roster when the Cubs tried to bring him up. I think it was at the end of 2023.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he couldn't get into the game at all.
No.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. I remember that that final stretch there. And yeah, they brought him up and then just nothing. So that's pretty good. I could also say maybe like a Nick Madrigal also could be like, you know, a runner up just because they couldn't find runway for him. So
No. Okay, so that was who I had for that. And you know, you may have some overlap here if you did this movie too, Jeremy. But for Buzz, kind of the big dumb bully older brother, I put Bud Norris. Just because that seemed to make sense. For the robbers, I put Mike Leake and Ippy Mizuhara.
Okay, nice. I like how how you you know your angle on that one.
Sure. You know, Ippy is a bit bigger of a story, but you know, for those of you who don't remember, Mike Leake, and I think we've talked about this on the podcast, was busted for stealing like $60 worth of something from it was maybe like Macy's or whatever. It wasn't even like a lot of.
I know they were jeans.
Yeah. Okay, that's So he was busted for shoplifting. I think after he had signed a major league contract. So that's just wild. Yeah. And so for the last one here, Jeremy, I kind of went out on a limb. So for the old guy, right? Like the scary old guy, like the whole movie, Kevin is kind of scared of him, doesn't know what his deal is. And then all of a sudden at the end, he comes through by hitting one of the robbers with a shovel pretty violently, and it's kind of awesome. And so for the old guy, I picked Tommy Pham.
Okay.
Because I feel like Tommy Pham is the type of guy where like he's kind of scary or you're intimidated by him. You don't really know what to make of him, but if he was in your corner and like he was on your side, he would legitimately be quiet the whole time, and then you could just see him just hitting a dude with a shovel and taking him out. Yeah. So I thought, okay, Tommy Pham for this guy.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you know, he would maybe stab the guy in the side or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So yeah, I did Home Alone as well. I just went with this and didn't give it any more thought and just moved on. But for Kevin McCallister, the Macaulay Culkin character, main character, for Kevin McCallister, I have Zach McCallister, just because.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, he pitched up until just a couple years ago too, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, for sure. I have to say, every time I thought of Zach McCallister, I think they spell it different than the character, but every time I thought of Zach McCallister or saw him, I thought of Home Alone, just the McCallisters, Kevin McCallister. So he would get it just on name recognition,
sure,
just by literally having the same name, and just I'd move on to the rest of the casting. And then I did have Harry and Marv, the two robbers, the wet bandits.
Sure.
Harry is Joe Pesci and Marv is Daniel Stern, I'm pretty sure. So I have for those two guys, for Harry, the Joe Pesci character, I have Danny Espinosa. I was trying to think of like kind of like
okay.
Like a kind of a shorter, squat kind of guy.
Sure.
Again with like kind of like that like stubble. So I could picture like if you put Danny Espinosa in like that little knit cap and that like gray jacket and the gloves, the like half cut gloves, I think it'd be a total dead ringer for Joe Pesci. And then
perfect.
And then for Marv, I have a young Rick Sutcliffe, a younger Rick Sutcliffe.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man, Jeremy, I think I've got Sut in here later on, but that's
okay.
Yeah, that's great casting, especially because they kind of sound similar. Daniel Stern, like they're kind of goofy guys, and Daniel Stern's got kind of a weird voice. So yeah, I like that.
I know.
I want tall.
Yeah, I want to see it now. Like I think that like Danny Espinosa is 6 foot, which I would I'd question that one. Like maybe like so. I just now that I can see it, I want to see it happen. Like I want to see Danny Espinosa and Rick Sutcliffe playing these two characters. But that's all I got for Home Alone. But yeah.
Okay, that was a good one. What was your next movie that you had?
I had one just kind of this one. It's it's a little straightforward, I would say, but for the Santa Claus,
Okay.
I would think I'm kind of envisioning like a whole reboot, and so I would call it the Santana Claus, and I cast Carlos Santana as the Tim Allen's character in the Santa Claus.
Okay. Yeah, the Santana Claus. I like that one, Jeremy. Yeah, I was gonna make some joke about him like walking or something, like, because Carlos Santana always drew a lot of walks.
Yeah.
But one, I was just thinking about Carlos Santana. It was kind of disappointing that he was so inaccessible this year. Did you get him? You got him right on the locker clean out?
No. I did. No, Dennis got him like right, but he's like,
Dennis got
you
him.
just missed Santana. I was like, okay, great, thanks. Yeah,
that's right. I was on the tip of my tongue, and I was like, "No." Jeremy said Dennis got him. So yeah, he was a tough get because he always had an escort to the hotel, so that was a rough one.
Yeah, the honcho I think like was with him, and I didn't want to get in his bad graces. So yeah, no, he never got him.
Jeremy, I did not put the Santa Claus in here, but I did think about it.
Okay.
And since the Santa Claus was played by Tim Allen. I was going to cast Matt Shaw in the role, but
Okay.
I didn't. Just interpret that, I guess, how you will.
Matt Shaw's been he was on my mind making this whole list, and I decided to just avoid that. But I think in the Santa Claus, I actually have never seen that movie. It was one of those ones that just like I think like it was just a little too old for it. And then like
sure, I did see it in theaters when I was a kid, so that's that age gap that we sometimes talk about.
Yeah, totally. The kid who played the little kid in the Santa Claus was on the season of The Floor that I was on, and I met him, and I didn't even I couldn't really even appreciate that he was the kid from the Santa Claus because I'm like I never really saw it. So
sure.
But in that movie, I think Tim Allen is like regular Tim Allen in the beginning, and then he becomes like Santa Claus, so he like gets like the bowl full of jelly, like whatever, the belly and like the beard and all that stuff. So you kind of need a pre Santa Claus Tim Allen. So we could go with Matt Shaw for that, and then he turns into Carlos Santana. So
right. Okay. I like it. Okay, yeah. The next movie I had, Jeremy. This is a movie that's starting to emerge as a Christmas movie, I think, in a lot of people's lexicons. Mm-hmm. But or you're hearing it talked about more and more. But The Holdovers was the next movie I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Really good movie. Takes place, at Christmas. So I only really picked one character for this, but it was Paul Giamatti's character, obviously, and I picked Rick Renteria.
Oh man!
Because if you think about two guys who are in the same boat, so yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, it's really good. Giamatti plays some teacher at a prep school who's been there for 30 years, and all the kids are rich and they go home for the holidays, but a few of them have parents who don't want them back, and so one teacher has to stay back, and that's Paul Giamatti, and he has to watch over all these like delinquent kids, and that is just the story of Rick Renteria's managerial career. Is just an organization, well, the Cubs and White Sox hired him to just shepherd all of these like crappy players and young prospects through a rebuilding era, and when they were ready to contend, they just fired his ass. So Giamatti got a raw deal in that movie, and Renteria didn't exactly get a great one in his managerial career.
Yeah, certainly not with the Cubs. For sure.
No.
So that's a good one. I like that. Very, very apt. As a teacher myself, I think about Paul Giamatti's character often.
Sure.
Like I like at the end there's kind of like a redemption arc for him a little bit at the end of the movie, but that one hits a little close to home. But that's a good call for sure. It's just sad. That movie is kind of sad to think about, and then Rick Renteria is just sad to think about too. His baseball run.
Right. Yeah. So it's good combo.
I wonder if he hates Chicago.
Jeremy,
he must like hate the city of Chicago just for like the bad association.
Well, it's crazy that his career was the exact same thing at both places that he went, but they were both in Chicago. I think you once said there's no explaining the managerial career of Rick Renteria, and there's really not.
Yeah, for sure. It's questionable. All right, so I have another kind of vanilla one I just want to get out of the way. Again, it was just for the sake of like kind of like mentioning the movie. But I did a Christmas story. Did you do a Christmas story, Jack?
I did not. I've never been a big Christmas Story guy. I think I've only seen it once. So yeah, who did you have for that one?
Well, I was just trying to pick a Ralphie character, and like
Okay.
just by sheer looks, I went with Nico Horner. Like if you could picture like a young Nico Horner as Ralphie, I think I think that would work. And I wanted to give Nico Horner a mention somewhere in here. So it's not a derogatory casting. It's just pretty like straightforward. But yeah, you got to roll back the clock a little bit for him.
Yeah, I like that. That guy directs movies now, right? The kid,
Yeah.
the guy who played the kid.
Peter Billingsley. Yeah. Directs and produces. He worked with Vince Vaughn for a little bit. So like
Weird.
the Vince Vaughn movie Made. That was like the follow-up to Swingers with Favreau and Vince Vaughn. Like Peter Billingsley was a producer on that. So
wow.
It's just weird to and he kind of just looks like a grown-up version of Ralphie. Like he looks the same, like just like 20 years older or something. It's uncanny, but yeah, he's still in the business.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. And that's a good call about Horner there too. All right. My next one. I had Christmas Vacation on here.
Okay.
So
got it.
I cast two characters here. So those characters are, first of all, Clark Griswold, the Chevy Chase character, but also the lady who works at, I think it's the jewelry store, right, that he goes to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he flirts with her, and then of course he has that great scene where I think he wakes up in the middle of the night to get a snack or something, and he looks out his window, and he envisions the pool that he's going to have installed, maybe with his Christmas bonus, if I'm remembering the movie right.
Yep,
and then like he sees the woman in a bathing suit, like dive in the pool and start to swim towards him, and he's having this fantasy. So as Clark Griswold, I cast Ron Darling, and as the lady at the jewelry store, I cast Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA. And so I can imagine that, Ron Darling in this movie, he would wake up in the middle of the night and look out the window, and instead of seeing a pool there, he would just see the Cubs dugout and PCA standing next to Justin Turner and just talking. And that's what he would see. So yeah, there you go. That's my Christmas Vacation one right there.
That's funny. Was this like a baseball Reddit thing? I feel like were they really kind of laying into that, or was this like? I
mean, people were laying into him, but it was just as a Brewers fan, it was just kind of sickening to hear and to hear him just talking about the Cubbies, and I know he would call the Brewers the Brew Crew too, so I'll give the guy a break, but like, oh my God, man, and it was, as a non-Cubs fan, kind of insufferable to keep seeing PCA and Justin Turner together, and like, oh, they're talking about what a mentor Justin Turner is. I didn't hear a thing about that all season, and now it's like the biggest story on the Cubs. So it just, I don't know, just weird. But whatever.
It definitely felt like a national narrative for sure. He was also always talking to Matt Shaw, which again, I wish maybe you would have mentored him a little more. But yeah, so I get that. It was you had we had two different perspectives on that series for sure. So
sure, but anyway, that's just me trolling for that one. But that's Christmas Vacation right there.
Nice. Okay. So I had I had Christmas Vacation as well. I had Cousin Eddie, who is
okay. I was having trouble casting him, so I was wondering who you had.
I have two. I have an alt for that as well. But perhaps it's a little crude as well. But there's a famous part in Christmas Vacation where Cousin Eddie's like, they're living in that the Winnebago, like at the edge of like Clark's driveway, and he's like emptying out like the the septic tank or whatever into the sewer, and he's like shitter's full.
Yep.
And I just thought of for some odd reason AJ Pierzynski for that. Now,
okay,
I don't know, Jack. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did we talk about that on the podcast? Now, this was pre-podcast, but the game where we saw, was it the Braves and the White Sox? where AJ Pierzynski's
Yeah,
like,
it was
return.
pre-podcast. I think it was 2016. But yeah, AJ Pierzynski just all of a sudden got removed from the game. I think he was catching.
Yeah, he just no like apparent reason for him to come out, and he came out in, like, the fourth inning or something, like the third or the fourth inning, and so we speculated that it might have been gastrointestinally driven,
Right.
that removal. Jack,
Yes.
just real quick sidebar. I was going back and listening to, like, our before the podcast episode.
Oh yeah.
There was actually, I forgot that was a 2-part episode, but so I only was able to listen to the first one. So the second one probably would have been where we talked about that. So I cannot remember if we talked about that on the pod. Listeners, if you've never listened to those, go back and listen to those 2 episodes. They're pretty fun, and they were recorded right at the beginning of the pandemic. And it was like our first, like, remote podcast, which not to look behind the curtain a little bit, we still do to this day. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, big sidebar there. But so yeah, Pierzynski jumped out at me for some reason about Cousin Eddie. The more kind of like safe casting for that, and it's kind of along the same lines of Zach McCallister. For Cousin Eddie, I would cast Cousin Jim Henderson, just because.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
And you know what? It would actually be funny to like to contact him and be like, "You've been cast as Cousin Eddie," and he'd be like, "What the hell is this? This cousin stuff? Like, why do people keep calling me cousin?" So, so yeah, that would be fun on multiple levels.
Nice. I like it. Did you have anybody else for Christmas Vacation?
Nah, that's all I had.
Okay, nice. So my next one was Charlie Brown Christmas.
Okay.
Jeremy, I don't know are you familiar with Charlie Brown Christmas at all?
I directed a stage play version of it. Yeah, that from my time working with that, I'm pretty familiar.
Is that what the Annoyance Christmas special is supposed to be?
It was a Charlie Brown Christmas and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer were the ones that I did. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. Well, that's okay. Well, good that you're familiar. God, that seems like a long time ago. But
yeah.
Nice. Well, good that they're familiar. So the character I cast here was Linus, and the thing I hated the most about Charlie Brown Christmas, would watch it every year as a kid, but there's just that part, I think it's near the end, where the whole thing just comes to a screeching halt. Charlie Brown, Linus is like, well, I'll tell you the true meaning of Christmas, Charlie Brown, and he just launches into this long, like, religious monologue that just sucks. Like, it's so boring. It's so boring. It just it's one of the worst things I've watched in a cartoon. But anyway, yeah. So the just because of the sheer level of, like, boredom and making me want to turn it off, I cast John Smoltz as Linus.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because
getting on his high horse about all of it.
Yeah, and Linus is just kind of a drip, and like John Smoltz just sucks too. Like, he's not fun to listen to at all. He's such a downer about everything too. So I think that he deserves to be cast in that role.
This is funny. Yeah, I have like a fondness of that show because of my connection with it, of doing the stage play, which incidentally, again, I think we've talked about this on the podcast, but which Len Casper came to. So that's maybe we haven't talked about this on the podcast, but I directed this show and at the Annoyance Theater. I it must have been 2012 or 2013. I think it was like 2012, and Len Casper came to a performance, and I talked to him and I met him there. I did not bring that up when I graphed him back at spring training this year because it would just be too embarrassing. But anyway, I have fond memories of that show. I don't really have strong connections to it as a child or anything, but I feel like people do like Linus. I feel like they I think like it's a very introspective and like kind of like not emotional, but like in your feelings sort of show. So like, Linus kind of like, I know he's got like this security blanket and all that stuff. So it's kind of like the softer side of things, I would say. So I'm sure that there's some people out there who identify with Linus, but I personally don't have a dog in the fight per se, but I know that.
Did that Annoyance show parody that scene?
Yes, we did. We did do that scene,
Okay.
and we did like spotlight on the Linus actor during that part.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole other we could go deeper into that, but I feel like we had two different approaches to directing that show, which is probably why they never asked me to direct another show after that. But I kind of more so with the Rudolph segment of it, but yeah, there was definitely some tongue in cheek, with the presentation, the annoyance version of the presentation of that show. Yeah.
Sure. Well, Jeremy, what was your next movie?
So I got 3 more here. Did you do It's a Wonderful Life?
I didn't.
Okay, so I was gonna recast the role of Jimmy Stewart. I think the character's name is George Bailey. This is another movie that I didn't really grow up with. It's a Wonderful Life. I may have never even seen it all the way through, but I'm familiar with the story. I'm kind of maybe more thinking of it might be more apt for The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. A guy who is just like a negative type of person, like just down in the dumps, kind of like downtrodden, kind of just doom and gloom. And then something happens to kind of like turn him around, and like his heart like grows 7 sizes or whatever it is in The Grinch.
Yeah.
And then he changes his whole outlook on life. I had to cast none other than Dennis for that role.
As the Grinch.
Yeah, as the Grinch or like George Bailey. Either way, like if I was like Dennis's agent, I would be shopping him for both roles, and just see what sticks. But like, I think like Dennis is like a negative Nancy, and then just saying, oh, he don't sign, they never sign. This guy didn't sign. You're not gonna get him. Whatever. All of his famous quotes, and then he'll get a guy, and then he'll like, he'll be giddy and like, hopping, like skipping around, like he's like, oh, I got him, or whatever. So Dennis is very like, he's very quick to turn on a dime, and it's all based off his autograph successes.
Yeah. He actually kind of looks like the Grinch too, as drawn by Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that's probably like we'll go with the Grinch for Dennis.
Nice. Yeah. One thing, because I actually did the Grinch too.
Okay.
But one thing about Dennis though, and always saying like, oh, he won't sign. The one time I saw him say that a guy would sign, it was when his old friend who I talked about on here, and him, the 3 of us were by the Guardians dugout, and Stephen Vogt was coming in. And like, his old buddy was like, he's like, nah, he ain't gonna sign. And Dennis was like, he'll do it. And then we asked Vogt, and then like Vogt just kind of blew by us and went in the thing. And it's like, yeah, the one time Dennis, he said he was gonna sign, he didn't.
Yeah.
So that was good. Of course, Dennis said he'd already gotten Vogt 3 times, and I have no reason not to believe him that season. Okay. Anyway, the Grinch for me, Jeremy. I guess speaking of the Guardians, perfect segue is Sandy Alomar.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
So, like the way that our interaction with him started was like us asking him and then him saying, all right, come on, guys, I'm talking here. It's like, geez, you don't want to mess with that guy. But then in the span of that conversation ending, his heart grew however many times it grows, and he came over and signed for us and was actually nice, even though we were still a little scared of him. So, yeah, I thought he would be a good candidate for the Grinch.
I could see that for sure. That was a wild exchange that like I don't know if I'll be able to shake off of him as like a person. So
no.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm certainly not going to ask him for his autograph again. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Just be happy that we got him once.
Yeah, I know, and he signed like I had 2 cards for him, and he signed the like lesser of the 2. So like I'm in a tough predicament if I ever want to try to get him again. I think I'll definitely hang back and kind of like let him set the pace. So
right.
Yeah.
Jeremy, do you have 2 more movies?
I have 2 more. Yeah.
Nice. I have 1 more. So how about you do your next one, and then I'll do, and then you do your last one.
Okay. So I did do a Christmas. Do you have a Christmas Carol, Jack?
I don't.
Okay, I'll do Christmas Carol then. So, I did do a Christmas Carol, which was kind of like the impetus for this episode. But figured it would be more fun to kind of spread it around over different movies. But the only person I cast for a Christmas Carol was Tiny Tim, And
Okay.
there's a lot of places you can go with this. Like with this might have been one of the ones where I was thinking of Matt Shaw. My initial thought, Jack, was I have a different one, but my initial thought was Caleb Durbin, because I
Okay.
think when we heard that he was acquired or whatever, we kind of looked up his vials and we saw that he was like a pretty short guy.
Yeah, like 5'6".
Yeah, but then I was thinking like, well, why give it to Caleb Durbin when we can go to the original? And so I decided to cast. I don't know how we could track him down, but I decided to cast the original Micro guy from the White Sox game as Tiny Tim.
I love it, Jeremy. So, what an epic takedown, you know?
Yeah, I can't remember what game that was. Maybe it was like the Orioles White Sox game that we went to that like day, like it was. I think it was like a Saturday afternoon game or something.
Ooh, I don't know. I want to say it was. I almost want to say it was a night game.
You feel like it was a night game?
know.
Okay, yeah. It's hard to say when it, like which game it was. It would be hard to kind of go back and find that, but I would love to hear our recap of that exact moment. Yeah, it's a memory that makes me laugh.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say the guy's probably dating a supermodel or something like he was back then. So
Yeah.
I don't know, just good. That was good stuff. Yeah, someday what is it, a Patreon, Jeremy? We gotta like
Patreon, yeah.
you know, Patreon, yeah. Other stuff that you've said, like that one guy at the Cubs convention who was like talking to all those ladies or whatever. You remember the guy, but anyway.
Yeah, give the uncensored recap of all those of all those interactions we've had. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Okay, yeah, that's a great one though, Jeremy. I love that for sure. Some great podcast lore there. Okay, so I'll do my last one. It's a real quick one. We've already talked about this guy, but I cast Bad Santa, and I cast Rick Sutcliffe in that role.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and part of that was based on, well, obviously we know the guy likes to party. It's been highly publicized. But even at that convention you went to, wasn't he late for that? Nobody had any idea where he was?
Yeah. They thought he might be canceling because they couldn't get a hold of him.
Yeah, and so there you go. And I mean, you can only imagine why the guy was late, but that seems like something Bad Santa would do. So I thought he'd be perfect for that role.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I know. I that was on my list, and I was trying to think of someone, and I picture like, I don't know if it's on the cover or like there's a scene. I think like, you know, he's at a bar drinking and he's like slumped over the bar and stuff. And I can, for whatever reason, I can picture Sutcliffe in that situation. So
Mark Grace would have been good too.
Mark Grace would have been good. Miguel Cabrera would have been. There's the name is the list is endless of who could do that. But I definitely like Sut. He's got the beard already, so that works. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, it's funny. We could both have Sutcliffe on there in different ways. Jack, my last one that I want to close out with is my favorite one that just made me laugh when I thought of it. I did the movie Elf with Will Ferrell. Have you seen that movie, Jack?
I have.
Yeah. So Will Ferrell's character as Elf, you know, he's like a big kid, a big child, and like he's just like kind of like he has like this innocent heart, and like he's just wowed by everything, and he's so sincere about everything, and just like he's full of like wonderment and amazement, and just he's always like he's just reacting like a little kid would to different events. And I can only think of one person. It's another former White Sox manager, but when he saw the White Sox black uniforms, Pedro Grafal.
Oh my God, I love it, Jeremy.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna communicate.
Wow, I love the black. Black's my favorite color. Like, it's just like the first day of him as White Sox manager, he's just looking at the jerseys and like, wow, look at that black jersey. It's like, you didn't know they wore black jerseys, dude. You played against them 19 times for like the last 4 or 5 seasons or whatever you were with the Royals. Like, what a goof. And so like, yeah, it's like Elf was able to get away with that because he was like a little kid in like an adult's body, basically, or just grew up in the North Pole. But Pedro Grafal was a grown man who's been around baseball for his whole life. But yeah, he just like shares that childlike innocence and wonderment, I guess.
I wonder if that video has been wiped from the internet, or if it would be possible the Grifol hype video, because there's also another snippet from that video where he's talking to, I think, Eloy Jimenez, like on a FaceTime call.
Yeah.
And like Eloy he's clearly at a beach in like a Hawaiian shirt or something, and it's like that's how this guy spends his off season, man. Kyle Schwarber does 6 weeks of like intense hitting practice, and like Eloy is just at a beach somewhere. But then like Grifol and him are like, they're like, I love you. It's just so it's so bad, man. We maybe in the doldrums of February we should try to dig that one up and just rip on it.
Yeah, I hope that there's no reason for that to still be on the internet. Like they could have just deleted that from the WhiteSox.com servers. But I hope it still exists, because that whole video is just ridiculous. And it was, God, it was just a fucking, like, within like 2 minutes of that video, you could see the whole future of his stint with the White Sox, man. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, man. And hindsight only makes it even better. So yeah, we should try to dig that one up. All right, Jeremy. Well, yeah, I think that's all the movies we had. Obviously this was number 299. So we have number 300 coming up next time.
Yeah, I think we're gonna take next week off for New Year's. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to give you an episode for Christmas. And I know a lot of podcasts go dark this week, so we wanted to give you one for that. But we will have number 300 coming up, and it'll be a good one. I think I'm excited for it. We kind of have it all, the plans together. So I'm excited for it, and it should be cool, and we hope you guys like it as well.
Yeah, heck yeah. So until then, for Rain Delay Theater, I'm Jack Swakowski.
I'm Jeremy Dionisio.
We'll see you next time.
Later.